so the specific questions, you have 2 minutes? 2 minutes to answer, and then the final question, depending on what time it is, will depend on how much you have to answer. For closing remarks and any final things you want to say. And so it's 5:15, so the candidates, just your name and the position, nothing more. We know.
Alright, I'll begin. My name is Brad Barbee, and I'm running for Student Body President.
I'm Brad's running mate, Jack Pashby, and I'm running for Student Body Vice President.
Hey everyone. I always sit here. Hey everyone. Stop. Okay.
Hit the other side.
What? Hey everyone. I'm Connell, and I'm running for Student Body Vice President.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline. I'm running for Student Body President.
Okay, first question. This is a general question.
Oh god, this was. I need to leave it on because it doesn't.
Pick a number between 1 and
Yes,
10.
pick a number.
4.
7.
It was 7. You guys get to go first.
Okay, this is directed to the Gonzalez Connell team. How will you ensure that events such as camp out and town halls put on by your executive departments meet student needs, pique their interest, and are an overall success?
Absolutely. So I know it's said over and over again that student government is not a programming board. We do put on programs, we do put on initiatives, we do put on events, and I think therefore our student leaders should be trained in programming. You specifically mentioned Camp Out, that was the first one. I think Camp Out's being approached at a tradition standpoint. It's under our traditions department. Historically, people were aware of it because of the necessity to be able to show up to the ticket office to get your ticket, and I think it needs to be approached from a programming standpoint in order to improve it and meet the student needs. Thank you.
Barbee, Pashby? Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I'll repeat it. How will you ensure that events such as camp out and town halls put on by your executive departments meet student needs, pique their interest, and are an overall success?
Well, unlike my opponent, we really want to collaborate with organizations and student groups here on campus to make sure these events are meeting the needs. We feel like a kind of problem right now is a lack of engagement in student government. You know, we plan to have a big executive cabinet that is focused on engagement with students, and like was mentioned, you know, it's going to be through the traditions department and making sure that the director of traditions is really reaching out to these groups, you know, fraternity and sorority life, all the different councils on campus, all these different groups, and finding out how can we improve this event, how can we improve Camp Out, how can we improve our town halls, and really just doing a better job of advertising them. Because right now I feel like our town hall is very poor job of advertising. We want to revamp our social media presence, and we want to really prioritize face-to-face interaction so students know what's going on in student government.
Okay, the second question will be directed to the Barbee Pashby campaign first. What specific steps will you make to decrease the amount of sexual assault cases on campus while also maintaining the transparency when such instances occur?
One of our main platform points is on increasing the amount of resident mentors in dorms to ensure that, you know, sexual survivors do have a place to report to and feel safe doing it.
Right, another big issue I feel like with sexual assault on campus is lack of knowledge about the different types of reporting. I had a conversation last week with Quinn Decker, the regional coordinator of the It's On Us program, and he said to get reporting rates up, to make sure that, you know, survivors can seek closure when sexual assault acts do happen to them, that we need to know, we need to inform them of what these different types of reporting are. What is a confidential report versus what is not a confidential report, and really just educating people on what these type of reporting methods are. And if they know this, then the reporting rates will go up, and we think that it would definitely take some big strides towards preventing sexual assault.
Okay, I'll repeat the question to the Gonzalez team. What specific steps will you make to decrease the amount of sexual assault cases on campus while also maintaining the transparency when such instances occur?
Yeah, so I think, as we mentioned in the previous debate, that we can't rely on survivors to tell their own story and to educate others. We have to take it upon ourselves as student leaders to make sure that everyone on campus has the education that they need and understands the resources that they have, resources like the Women's Center and the Counseling Center and other organizations on campus. We want to make sure that those are uplifted so students can go to them. And we also want to make sure that we, as student government, tell people that these resources are here, but there are also programs that you can request trainings for, and they have brochures and pamphlets. There are groups literally here to educate you about this issue, and that's something that me and I are definitely passionate about.
Okay, this next question is for the Gonzalez Connell team first. After a year of social strife on campus, what specifically will you do to make students of color feel safe and at home on campus?
Hey everyone, thank you for the question. Jackie and I come from a niche. We are both two Latinx women. We understand what it's like to be a minority on a predominantly white institution. I think the steps to go about to make sure that our students of color feel comfortable is creating, one, uplifting the communities on campus that have these education programs, have these advocacy programs, and have these initiatives, making sure that they're being uplifted through the resources we have as a student government, and then also making sure that as student government members, we are there, we're present, and we're further educating ourselves so that we can represent them through student government.
I'll just repeat the question. After a year of social strife on campus, what specifically will you do to make students of color feel safe and at home on campus?
Well, we're going to stop focusing on what makes everyone different at this campus and start focusing on what makes everyone the same, and that is our common goals towards our education, our career. Every single student at this campus has common goals. They all want to graduate on time. They all want to be able to feel safe on this campus, and we're going to make sure that we communicate that every single day in our administration.
As far as listening to the ideas on specific cultures, one thing we want to do, we've emphasized a lot, is expand the executive board, including all groups of people, and so we can listen to their ideas, implement them in such as town halls.
Okay, this next question is a little long, so I'll try to be slow. If you need me to repeat it again, I can. A major aspect of graduate student success is attending and presenting research at academic and professional conferences. However, university-wide opportunities to fund travel to these conferences is limited to GSA's award for conferences, which currently awards about 10 students yearly. Do you think that SG should play a role in funding travel to conferences? If so, how could this funding be implemented? And if not, how would you better use these funds to benefit those students?
So, yeah, this was an issue that was actually brought up to me very recently with the whole lack of travel funding and ways to do it. And graduate students pay the same fee to student government that graduate students pay the same $16 to student government that everyone on this campus. So they need the same support that undergraduates are getting. And I've talked with Tyler Allen and GSA, and they feel like they are not getting that same report for our student government. So one of the ways we want to work on implementing more funding and ways to do this is by creating an entire department of graduate student relations in our executive department to really create a strong liaison between the GSA and student government to make sure that concerns like this are heard. Because, like I said before, I didn't really know about this concern until a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad that someone brought it up to me, and we're going to get to working on it as soon as we get elected.
You can repeat
Do you want me to
it.
repeat?
Yes, please.
Okay. A major aspect of graduate student success is attending and presenting research at academic and professional conferences. However, university-wide opportunities to fund travel to these conferences is limited to GSA's award for conferences, which currently awards about 10 students yearly. Do you think that SG should play a role in funding travel to conferences? If so, how could this funding be implemented? If not, how would you better use these funds? Or how would you better use these funds to benefit students?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that question. I wasn't aware of this problem until recently because I'm not a graduate student. However, I did reach out to many graduate students and asked what the main issues were, and travel funding was one of them. I think as the leaders of student government, we have to make sure that it's our duty to show everyone that we have 3 different ways of funding. However, that's not the only way to get money on campus. One of the main ways as a student body president and vice president, and as other offices would do, is to make sure that these conversations are being had to the administration. Because yeah, we're undergraduates and we're not graduate students, that doesn't mean we're not gonna listen to you. We are, and we know that GSA might not have the same amount of leverage that student government has, and we're gonna make sure that their concerns are being heard.
Okay, this is the final general question for Gonzalez Connell first. Do you think student body officer stipends are necessary to attract qualified individuals for those positions?
I don't think they're necessary to attract qualified people. I think they are necessary in order to make it accessible to the general student. We want student government to represent the general student, but then how are we going to be able to do that when it's quite literally a part-time, and some people would argue a full-time job? So the general student gets $11,000 in loans and grants. The estimated cost of attendance per year is $20,000. That leaves you a $9,000 gap. As someone who's paying her own way here and has zero help from my parents, I understand the stress that can come from finances. So I think that a stipend is necessary to make student government accessible to the general student, because if we want to represent this general student, we have to have the general student within student government.
Okay, I'll just repeat the question for you. Do you think student body officer stipends are necessary to attract qualified individuals for those positions?
No. We do this. Our student body officers should do this because they enjoy serving the students, not to receive stipends or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even know about the stipend. I found out about it after I filed to run. This is a job for me personally that I'm doing because I care about this university and I care about our students and I care that our student government is working for these students. I'm not doing this for a paycheck. I don't think any student body officer does it for a paycheck. They do it because they have a deep love and deep passion for this university, and I share that passion.
We'll now move on to the second portion of the debate. Each campaign is going to be asked 3 specific questions that were submitted by students directly to you. If a question was directed to a specific individual, I will clarify that and you'll be expected to answer. In this portion of the debate, you will have 2 minutes to answer rather than 1. We'll start with the Barbee Pashby because we just started with Gonzalez Connell. So this is to either of you. Why should the student body trust you when you both had the least student government experience of all 4 tickets?
First of all, experience is not a thing. What we need is the vision. I mean, we've seen leaders in student government in the past year that have not had that vision, and they've done a terrible job running student government. And we have that vision the student government needs.
Right, and to kind of calm those concerns, I've had experience in other areas. I was treasurer of my fraternity. I was rush guide for the IFC. I've had a number of roles outside of student government with experience. And like Jack and what Jack said, I think that more important than experience, it's really vision. Student government is more than 2 people. It's more than me and Jack. It's more than a president and vice president. There is a large executive cabinet. There is a legislative branch to help you out. There is a conduct board as well. There is a lot of people in student government all working, hopefully, towards the common goal of helping students. And I think me and Jack share the vision of helping students and really having an impact on their lives. And we do have experience in relative areas, Jack with student government, me with fraternity life, and also student government this past month. And we have the vision. We're going to put the people around us to make sure we can implement that. We can implement it, but we can't do it alone. Absolutely not. No one up here can do it alone with just 2 people. So we will definitely find the people to put around us to make sure that it can happen. We can really carry out these initiatives that we have laid out, the vision that we have laid out for student government.
Jackie, Mia, this question is for either of you. Neither of you voted on R78, the GLBTQ+ Solidarity Act. If elected, how will you handle tough, difficult decisions when one must be made?
Yeah, so I think we each had our own reasons to abstain. Mine was because I knew the bill was going to pass and I really had to use the restroom. So I really apologize for that, and I made it very clear to everyone around me. I spoke to the sponsors of the bill, and if I could go back and change that, I would. But I think that it's important to note that Mia and I stand completely in solidarity with the GLBT community. And that's something that they have never questioned us about. And I don't know if you want to take that over. Yeah.
This is to either of you. Your platform includes protecting students' rights to free speech. How do you plan to balance protecting free speech and protecting students from hateful, offensive, or abusive language and actions?
You know, free speech is one of the only things you don't pay for here on campus. And you know, once that free speech actually starts targeting an individual, really target them, that becomes in line with hate speech. And that's when we step in and take initiatives to stop that.
Right. Me and Jack are protectors of free speech. I think we have said that over and over again, more so than any other candidate in the race. And when it does drift into hate speech, when hate speech does arise, because it has, and we've seen it arise very recently within this school, we have to use it as a teaching moment for the university. We have to reach out to students and let them know why hate speech is wrong. It cannot be tolerated on this campus. It isn't tolerated on this campus. It can't be tolerated anywhere. And really using moments where free speech turns into hate speech as teaching moments and teaching students why it's wrong. That is what we're going to do to make sure that hate speech doesn't become a problem at this campus.
Mia, this question is directed to you. You were chair of the Senate Tuition and Fee Committee this session. So why was there no bill stating student government's position on the tuition increase? What is the 2017-2018 tuition increase? Additionally, why did the Tuition and Fees Committee not advocate on behalf of engineering and pool management students regarding their tremendous individual fee increases?
So I want to make sure I have each part to that question. One was pool and engineering, correct? One asked what's the 2017-2018 fee increase. So in other words, next year. Okay. And then the last part, there was a third section. What was that? Why was there not a bill? Okay, got it. So as tuition and fees chairwoman, we were tasked with reviewing the proposed fee increases that were requested from the different departments from the university. From there, we interviewed the different departments as a committee, looked into what those fees would be going towards, what they would be accommodating, and from there, we then said, these are the fees we approve of, these are the fees we do not approve of. We brought it to the Senate debated, the Senate voted as a whole. It was not tasked to have a bill saying this is our stance on the tuition. It was primarily on the fees. That's what we're tasked with during the school year. In regards to the 2017-2018, they're all stated in the bills that we passed. We did a 2-year cycle at the time. We've now switched to a 1-year cycle, so that's going to be under next year's tuition and fees. So the we do have those. They're all stated in the bills. I can't go into each and every individual one. I know that sustainability got a 50-cent increase. I know that we gave an increase to student health to expand their counseling center. I know that we denied Tally an increase. To go into the pool and engineering, student body president Paul Nolan went to bat for that fee that went up with engineering. Laura Stott and I discussed the pool increase. It was determined at the time it was something that cannot be changed for this year. We were told that that is handled internally. It's handled within pool college management. At the time I was a pool college management student. I thought that was really worrisome. As tuition and fees, we discussed talking with Pool College Management Council, talking with the higher ups. They just got a new dean. That was something that did not get to happen. It's something that I hope is addressed, I guess, in future sessions, but it was something that pool did not get addressed, but engineering did get around to during this session. Thank you.
Brad, this question is to you. You keep saying that you want to be the change in student government. Within your 1 month in the Senate, you have missed a committee meeting and didn't bring your laptop to the last Senate meeting to review the bills. How can you be the change when you aren't present or prepared?
As far as the not bringing the laptop, I'm not really sure where that report came from. I remember bringing my laptop to the Senate meetings I had been at. I do think there was an instance where possibly it died during the middle of the meeting. However, I did bring it to that meeting, so I'd like to know where that report came from. As far as the committee meeting, missing that, it was during the campaign process, and I was very busy during that time, and those committee meetings got changed around. I believe that was also maybe the night of the UNC basketball game as well, which I did not attend. However, because of that, a lot of different committee meetings were being switched in time. So my apologies for missing that committee meeting. Absolutely, that is on me. However, I do think a better job could have been done of advertising exactly when that meeting was. And like I said, it was a very busy day that day with student government as a whole.
Jackie, this is to either of you. You campaigned on your support and involvement in the Tally Charter loan bill. So why have students seen so little to no progress on that initiative since the technician article in November? Why has there not been a finance bill brought to the Senate floor?
Absolutely. So, yeah, we have campaigned, I wouldn't say primarily on that. It was definitely something that we talked about. It's a talking point. But we actually didn't really depend on that. The charger loaning system is something that's coming to Tally. It's a slow process. You don't get to just snap your fingers and things happen at a large university. We have to go through funding requests. We went through one, it fell through, and so we've gone through, we've reached out to 3 other sources of funding. We've gotten funding from IRC that was approved on Monday, and we have a finance bill actually coming to committee tonight. I'm in the finance committee, and it's already been approved. It's just a matter of all of us putting our names on it, and it's going to be at the next Senate as a whole meeting. So I think it's more so that it's hard to understand how fast something can or can't happen. We did want it to happen probably earlier in this semester, but it's not always what we want. It has a lot to do with going through funding resources and going through the processes, and also we have to go through committees. We have to go through the different channels. It's not a quick process, but it's something that we're willing to stick through the whole time and not abandon when it's not accomplished easily.
We will now move on to the final portion of our debate. For the final portion, it's kind of a guided closing remarks. We'll ask you each the same question as in the first portion, and you'll be given 3 minutes to respond, and then you'll be able to do rebuttals afterwards. So
3 minutes each, or just 3 minutes?
3 minutes per campaign team. The question will first go to the Brad Jack campaign. Or, just kidding, it's the Jackie Mia campaign. How are you better equipped to represent and speak on behalf of the Wolfpack students, or on behalf of Wolfpack than your opponent?
I'll start.
Yeah.
So we've been saying this a little bit through the campaign. We've been in student government for 2 years. We've seen how it's gone. We've seen the different leadership styles. We've seen the different communication styles, and we have a vision for where we want to go. We've seen how it's improved from year to year, and we definitely want to keep that improvement going. From here, I think some improvements include reaching out to the student body and making sure they're aware of what student government does. Because Jackie and I are aware of what student government does. We know that Alberto is working on a bike share program, and that's something that's going to continue. We know that Gabby just went to IRC and got funding for those chargers. We know that Jack has worked tirelessly on the appropriation committees. We know what's going on, and we're proud of what's going on. And we think it's a matter of letting the student body know what's going on so they can be proud of us as well.
Yeah, just going off of that, I think that the best people to do this job are people that have a substantial amount of experience. Student government is a difficult process, and I think that Mia and I are well equipped to not only handle the slow process and the lengthy processes, but also be able to speak to the students and create a better system of resources to make sure that these meetings are being heard and that students know every process of the way. Perhaps the Tally Charters thing could have been announced a little better. There are just some things that we just learn on their way, and that's something that me and I are really passionate about getting to work on, especially that communication, uplifting students, and making sure that students are being heard.
Now you guys will answer the question, and then after that, a rebuttal from them, and then a rebuttal from you. Okay. So, the question: how are you better equipped to represent and speak on behalf of the Wolfpack than your opponent?
First of all, as you can see, we have the vision necessary, to the NC State needs. And as you can read through our platform, really stresses, engagement, student life, things that students actually care about, and that's what NC State needs.
if I remember correctly, at the last debate, Jackie stated that it is not her job to speak on behalf of the students. That is something that was said at the last debate, and I think that speaks enough right there. However, like Jack said, our big thing is engagement and really reaching out face-to-face interaction with these students, and that's what we've been doing in the campaign process. That's what we plan to do, continue when elected. We feel like Jackie's campaign, and it's shown that they're not really focused on talking to students and reaching out to students. They're more focused on violation reporting, getting personal endorsements from their friends, not really going out to the students and finding out what those issues are. And we feel like that they will continue to do that if elected. Me and Jack, we're all about engagement, reaching out to students, that personal face-to-face interaction. That is how we're going to speak on their behalf, because we know what they want, because we reached out and did the work and made sure that we figured out what their problems were and how we could fix them.
Now a 1-minute rebuttal.
Okay. 3 quick things. The first of which, it's not my campaign. It's not Mia's campaign. It's not either of ours campaign. It's Student Body's campaign. Our slogan is Students for Students, and the reason why is because we've been students, we've worked, and we've been in student government, and we know what it's like to be minorities, women, students, working students, getting loans out. We know what it's like. And I just wanted to clarify that. The second part of which was the quote that was used in the technician that said, I do not speak on behalf of students. That was not taken out of context. Actually, the technician clearly stated the context that it was in. And what I meant by that was that the best person to speak on behalf of yourself and tell about your experiences is you. I will make sure that you have all the resources you need so you can tell your story, and I'll stand in solidarity with you and represent you every step of the way, whether it be on campus, with faculty members, or with the administration. Yeah.
Now a 1-minute rebuttal.
All right, to that I say, the students, out on the campaign trail, before, as I was a senator, the students have spoken. They feel like they are disengaged from their student governments, and we feel like that you two are some of the leaders in that, and students not being engaged. Students don't know what student government does. They don't know what we are doing. They feel like you do not have an impact on student governments, and you are part of the leadership of that, and that is a problem. Me and Jack are here for change. We are here to have a student government that focuses on the impact that we can have on students. We're not focused on rhetoric. We're not focused on politics. We are focused on coming together as a student body and as a student government for change and initiative that really positively, tangibly benefits the Wolfpack experience, benefits every single student at this school.
Thank you.
This concludes our debate. Remember to vote tomorrow. Polling is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. There will be a reveal at 9 p.m. in Tally Pavilion.
Hey, also want to let you know if you want to support the girls' department, girls' meeting tonight, and you can proxy for Jack because he's not going to be there.
Growth meeting. What time is that at?
7:30.
Fantastic. I'll be there.
Thank you.
Good job to do.
Good job, Rod.
Why are you waiting?